Before these games actually came out, and we realized the threat of things like the Paradox Pokemon and really just the new DLC mons in general, one of the most threatening Pokemon that people were suspecting would be relevant this year was going to be Mamoswine, thanks to its ability to take advantage of Terra very heavily with an already powerful dual stab, and being able to change its typing for something a little more favorable defensively, or just leaning heavily into offense. However, we haven't really seen a lot of Mamoswine, because by the time it actually came out in the games, we already had better ground types like the Landorus forms and the Ursaluna forms. But today, we actually have an incredible clear amulet Mamoswine team that managed to get top 50 at Orlando Regional. And when I say this is incredible, I truly do now believe in the Pokemon after having shown this off. If you guys enjoy the team and want to try it out for yourselves, leave a like below and subscribe for more content just like this. I like to feature a lot of these types of teams where we both have the really strong teams that happen to feature a unique Pokemon, as well as the really gimmicky ones. And if that's your type of content, you know, you like the variety, I'm your channel. But with that said, let's start off by introducing the Mamoswine today. Now, this is a clear amulet Terra Poison Mamoswine. With Terra Poison, this is a great way around things like Grassy Glide Rillaboom and other Pokemon that might otherwise threaten you with things like a Grass Stab, especially for things like the Ogerpon forms, though the Ogerpon forms in particular are a little bit of a unique case because they do have other typings that can threaten this. For example, the Wellspring Ogerpon is a really strong Water-type Ivy Cudgel, so we do have some partners in the back that will hopefully help alleviate the Ogerpon Wellspring matchup. And for Ogerpon Hearthflame, it just hits so hard in general that it's going to be a little bit terrifying. Because of this, we do have a nice Adamant 148 speed spread. With this in particular, at -1 speed, even if Ogerpon is running a Jolly Nature, we'd actually guarantee take it out, which is going to be great because High Horsepower and Icicle Crash hit every Ogerpon form perfectly. The best matchup that it would have defensively would be the Wellspring Ogerpon, but again, that's the one I have the most defensive counterplay for, and Hearthflame and Corner should just drop completely. Teal will also drop the Icicle Crash, though that could actually, to be fair, just go for the Teal Terra and then outpace even after an Icy Wind, so I'm not really too concerned with that. I'll have to have different counterplay for it, though that's where an option like Ice Shard will come in handy. It's also really good for avoiding things like Thunderclap on Raging Bolt, especially if I do go for the Terra Poison, and it overall proves to be a very decent offensive piece. The 236 attack is going to be for our attack bump. I'm not sure what the bulk is here. Frankly, a lot of these Pokemon, I'm not sure what the specific bulk calcs are for. I haven't played a ton of Reg F with serious teams. As you guys have seen, I have ditched on the format a few times now for content, but regardless, it's still a really threatening Pokemon overall. I noticed this was taking a ton of different hits. Up next, we're going to have our strong Icy Wind option with our Booster Speed Fluttermane. This is going to be a Terra Fairy typing to lean into that Moonblast damage, and will protect Moonblast, Icy Wind, and Taunt. This proves to be a very good speed control option. Now, I believe the speed is actually creeping for Superior. I don't know if there's a benchmark that's more specific here. Maybe it was technically speaking for like Pokemon that would be creeping Torn or something. I don't know what specifically was in the person's head, but it does perfectly creep in Superior. So I'm going to go with the narrative that the team was very scared of Superior for some reason, even though it has a lot of counterplay for it. Either way, this bulk in general on Fluttermane is going to help it take a lot of hits from unique Sucker Punch Pokemon. I know in general, this was a bulk set that actually I was looking forward to all the way in Reg C for Fluttermane, specifically for like POW Sucker Punch. So I know it goes a long way on this. The rest is just thrown into special attack and special defense, giving it a very weak offensive set, but Fluttermane is here more for like Icy Wind support, and then just getting off a strong Terra Fairy Moonblast, which even with the slow investment, will still hurt players. And overall, this Fluttermane proves to be a very essential part of the team. Moving on, we do have an Assault Vest Terra Fairy Raging Bolt here, with Thunderclap, Dragon Pulse, Thunderbolt, and Electro Web. With Electro Web, we have another really good way of slowing down opponents in case the Fluttermane isn't going to be the Icy Wind option. And with Dragon Pulse and Thunderbolt, we have some strong dual stabs in case if I can't just click Thunderclap reliably. This is helpful for things like Farigiraf, Indeedee, or even just Pokemon that are going for faster priority hits. With our particular spread in general, the 100 special attack is going to be a special attack bump. And with the 109, this is going to be useful mostly, I want to say, so I actually forget specifically what this bump is for. So I think it might actually be an Urshifu creep at -1. Am I crazy for that? I think it is. Yeah, it's actually a -1 Urshifu we actually guarantee outpace, which is still a really decent thing to be fair. For non-Scarf Urshifu, that is essential for guaranteeing Thunderclap will go off so they can't like Jet or Sucker Punch past you. So that is still a really important creep to have. And the rest is just into bulk here, which should help taking hits a lot, especially with that Terra Fairy typing. Moving on, we have a Terra Steel Metal Plate for Rillaboom, with Fake Out, Grassy Glide, Wood Hammer, and Protect. Now, a lot of Rillaboom do not run Protect, so especially in the close sheet format, this has a ton of merit. Though with the Terra Steel typing, this helps a lot defensively with Pokemon like Fluttermane or other Ice types that might be going into Rillaboom, which is pretty decent. Especially with the hail going around ever since it won at, I believe it was Utrecht. This is going to be a very nice defensive typing for Rillaboom. And this is a really good fake out support piece overall. We're going to hit a really high attack stat leaning into that Metal Plate damage, which is useful because we don't have an offensive Terra type like Grass here. And overall, this Rillaboom is going to be a really threatening piece for the team. It gives us some great just turn control. Moving on, we do have an Ogerpon Hearthflame with Ivy Cudgel, Woodhammer, Stomping Tantrum, and Spiky Shield. Similarly to Rillaboom, Ogerpon doesn't typically run Stomping Tantrum. This does help make up for the lack of a ground type move on Rillaboom, and it helps give us another way around fire types than just the Mamoswine so far. Overall, I don't really know what the bulk in Ogerpon is specifically for, but the max speed is just really nice to tie other Ogerpon. And the Stomping Tantrum especially is really good in the Hearthflame form, so I will definitely take that. Finally, we do have an Urshifu Rapid with the Surging Strikes, Aqua Jet, Close Combat, and Detect set with Terra Steel. Great defensive typing around Pokemon like Fluttermane, which would otherwise hit this super effectively. And getting rid of our weakness of Thunderclap is huge. Also is a great resist to the Grass type moves that would come on this. It's a great defensive type overall. With the Adamant Nature 156, we do hit a strong attack bump here. And with the 164 speed, this is great for especially Pokemon at -1, like Xianpao. So we can just go for a very free Surging Strikes into that. If you want to try the Reynolds code for yourselves, the team is going to be on screen here as well as with the paste in the description below. And with that said, let's get into some battles for today. Alright, we're here today going over a Mamoswine team, which should be pretty fun actually. This team actually got top 50 at Orlando, in case for anyone who skipped the team builder. So it did pretty well actually, and you know what, this is a really cool team. The Mamoswine especially, it's really good into a lot of these like common priority mons, and against teams like this especially, like it really does kind of go in. So I have a lot of faith actually. I think this Mamoswine is a really decent mon. However, I feel like that I definitely need to lead around like Urshifu Pow. I feel like Urshifu Pow is probably gonna lead. Rillaboom Pow isn't terrible either. Even if it's just like fake out and then go for stuff against me. So I do need a lead that's going to probably put up some decent pressure. Let me open up the paste really quickly actually on the side. Because I just saw this team. I had the rental code up, but I didn't have the paste open. Okay. So looking at the team, I think my best lead. So if I'm fearing Urshifu Pow, these teams typically are going with like Amulet Pow. Typically not all of them, but a lot of them are. I mean, either way, I feel like that like Rillaboom and Urshifu could put up some decent pressure actually on lead. I'm gonna go with that. I think that Rillaboom and Urshifu is my lead here. I'm gonna go with the Hearthflame Ogerpon. I think does a lot against this team, especially because we do have the Stomping Tantrum. It's gonna help a lot with the Instant matchup. And then I think Mamoswine will be a really good cleaner as well here, especially with Terra against mons like Rillaboom, and while also having a nice Terra type that can match up well into. I mean, even just getting rid of our weakness to like Sacred Sword is pretty decent. We're going to get rid of our weaknesses to Urshifu Stabs, which is really good. Rillaboom especially will be an important one though. They're going to lead off with Raging Bolt and Incineroar. That's perfectly fine actually. I'm not really afraid of this. Their Incineroar should be slower than my team 100%. The bigger threat is going to be the Raging Bolt though. So I think honestly what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to fake out into the Raging Bolt spot. And then I'm going to go for a... Yeah, I'm going to go for a fake out into the Raging Bolt spot. And I think I'm just going to raw Surging Strikes into that Incineroar. I don't really feel like I need to Terra around it, and if they do fake out my Urshifu instead to punish that, then that's whatever. I think that realistically though, the fake out play into Instant is kind of obvious, and I think they might even Terra around it. I would be going as far as to believe that's the case. So I'd rather just fake out the Raging Bolt. You know, I don't have to expend a Terra on my Urshifu. They do fake out my Urshifu. Okay, that's fine. Not really the biggest deal in the world. It's not great, but it could be a lot worse. So it doesn't look like they went for a Thunderclap though, which is actually pretty decent to note. As far as my switch in here, I think realistically, I probably, so against a lead like this, I feel like I need to just go for Detect on Urshifu, and I need to go for, I don't need to switch out Rillaboom 100%. I think my switch in is going to be the Ogerpon here, because most likely Raging Bolt is going to go for my, Urshifu. And if I bring in Ogerpon, even if my opponent goes for like a Flare Blitz here, I'm kind of okay with that. I can then later on pivot into my Rillaboom again, which I think will be better, as I can clear through my Intimidate drop, which will be nice, but more importantly, I can get around the Raging Bolt more sufficiently, which should be decent. My opponent will probably go for Thunderclap into Urshifu and then go for a Flare Blitz or Parting Shot into my Ogerpon spot. I'm kind of fine with whatever play they make here, because in either scenario, I feel like I'm coming out on top. They are going to go for the Thunderclap into the Urshifu. That is perfect. And then meanwhile, they're going to go for Knockoff. Okay, Knockoff is still fine, actually. They were probably trying to get rid of like an Assault Vest to help out with the Raging Bolt damage here. Or maybe like some sort of Citrus Barrier, or really whatever they were trying to do. I don't really know specifically. Either way, though, I'm going for Thunderclap into the Raging Bolt spot. And then I'm going to proceed to... Actually, I could probably punish the Instant a bit and go for like an Aqua Jet here. I feel like that's a decent option for me. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I think realistically, there is no world they don't go for Thunderclap. And by doing this, I can at least get some serious damage into Instant before it pivots out. Not that I think it's going to immediately switch this turn, like by just a hard swap, but I think it will go for like a parting shot maybe. And this Aqua Jet should at least, I can't imagine it's not going to do at least a third. Considering the fact we do have our Splash Plate and we're out of it, yeah, that's almost a third. It's probably closer to about 25%, but that's still fine either way. I'll hard pivot out when Instant does go for parting shot this turn into my Ogre Pawn most likely, but this is some pretty decent damage. I can hard switch out. Oh, they're going to go for knockoff. Okay, that's kind of fine. I'm not really too concerned with that. I'm just going to proceed to go right into my Mamoswine here. And then I think I'm just going to go for a... I think I'm just going to go for Tantrum into Instant at this point. I could also go for Detect, to be fair. But I don't really want to leave Urshifu in if I could help it. Actually, they're probably going to swap here. I feel like there's a serious chance my opponent will swap here. I'm going to go for Tantrum anyway, just to be safe. They don't have the best of switch-ins to that. And any switch-in they do go for allows me a free Surging Strikes this turn. So I'm going to predict that my opponent will try and defensively... Actually, I'll go for one more Aqua Jet here, and then I'll swap. Or go for Surging Strikes. I think they'll swap on the next turn, not this current one. So Aqua Jet is going to go off. Even if I lose Urshifu in the process, it's just a free Mamoswine. Yeah, okay, so it does look like they're going to let me go into my Mamoswine at least for free, which is decent. Oh, they're going for Calm Mind. Okay, Calm Mind is very fine, actually, because that Raging Bolt should be punished at this point. They're Calm Mind and Thunderclap, which is huge information, actually, because they're either Calm Mind 3 attacks or they're ditching an Electric Stab, which either way I'm okay with. They are going to Parting Shot finally on the Incineroar. That's perfectly okay. I'm kind of curious what mon they'll go into here. I have a hunch that it's probably going to be Rillaboom. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be Rillaboom, specifically considering the fact that we do have the Urshifu on the field. And they're probably going to go for the switch in back into Incineroar at that point, trying to fake like a fake out, which I think makes a lot of sense. They can weaken my Ogre Pawn down, take the hit with the Raging Bolt that they need to. They're actually going to go into Landorus. Okay, Landorus is fine. I'm really not too concerned with Landorus, actually. This is a pretty decent position to be in. We are Jolly Max Ogre Pawn. So I can actually go as far as to go for Ivy Cudgel in that spot. The bigger issue being is that I kind of want to punish that Raging Bolt here. So what I think I'm going to do instead is I think that I'm going to go for a Spiky Shield for now. And I'm going to go for a hard swap here into my Mamoswine. They're probably going to go for like a... they're most likely going to go for like a Sludge Bomb into Ogre Pawn or like an Earth Power into Ogre Pawn. And then they're going to go for the Thunderclap into my now Mamoswine spot. Which Mamoswine at this point can actually just go for Ice Shard very freely, and I don't really have any reason to fear that. The Ice Shard will obviously take out the Mamoswine. I'm really not concerned with that. If Incineroar comes in, so be it. They're gonna Terra here. I'm assuming it has to be the Raging Bolt. They're trying to take the Tantrum. No, it's the Landers. Okay, well shit. Terra Poison. I mean, honestly, that's still fine. That's still really okay for us, because I could still proceed to just go for like an Ivy Cudgel plus an Ice Shard then at that point. The Spiky Shield will be great, because we're going to just preserve the Ogre Pawn. There's no world where this kills. They are going to go for Sludge Bomb right into my Ogre Pawn. That's perfect. That's honestly okay. And then meanwhile, their Raging Bolt's probably going for Calm Mind here. No, they're going to go for Dragon Pulse right into my Memo. Okay, that's actually decent. However, we do take it, so I'm kind of okay with that. Alright, with this in mind, with this all in mind, I think that my play actually is now to go for the Terra Fire Ivy Cudgel into the Landorus spot, because my goal should be to kill it. Let me actually double check if that kills. I know that the Terra Fire will definitely kill. I'm kind of curious, though, if we can kill pre-Terra. Let's see. So, Ogre Pawn, Hearthflame versus Landorus. I'm going to check versus, like, the sub-Landorus. I know I have a spread with that on one of these teams. Landorus. Okay. So, let me see. Where's a team that I know has it? Holy shit. I know there's a team that has, like, the bulky Landorus. Fuck it. I don't think I can find it. We're just gonna see. Fuck it. We'll see. Alright, Terrafire, Ivy Cudgel should guarantee the kill. We're just gonna pop Terrafire, Ivy Cudgel. They have given me no reason yet to think that this will not go well. And I can then Ice Shard into Raging Bolt here. And even if I do die to like a Dragon Pulse this turn with my Mamoswine, at least this is sufficient damage. This should be enough to at least get a Detect plus like an Ivy Cudgel into that Raging Bolt and be fine. And if they go for my Ogre Pawn instead, I'm kind of okay with that too, because it just means I can bring in my Rillaboom, well not my Rillaboom, my Urshifu plus my Memo and just pick them off that way. So even if this doesn't kill the Raging Bolt for whatever reason, they're going to go for Protect. That makes a lot of sense actually. But this Ivy Cudgel should still massacre into this Landorus. Even if it's very bulky, it should still do a ton of damage. And then on the following turn, I can just go for dual protect and then proceed to go for a Stomping Tantrum into Incineroar plus an Ice Shard into the Raging Bolt. I don't know why that was such a difficult thing to think of, but it was, and it was definitely very difficult to think of. But either way, this is kind of okay. They don't know that I mean, they can probably assume, to be fair, that I don't have Follow Me on this set. Not the best that we had to reveal that, but it's still kind of fun. Because I can either way get some decent punish into the Raging Bolt here. So, Incineroar is going to come in here. That's kind of okay. They're probably going to go for the Fake Out, most likely into the Mamoswine, I feel like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a Stomping Tantrum here into Raging Bolt this turn, as they're probably going for Calm Mind, and I'm going to protect the Mamoswine. I want to try and preserve the health on that thing as much as possible. And even if Incin goes to like a knockoff in that spot, predicting, again, I would rather just avoid all damage. So we're going to go for Protect. My Ogerpon is still at neutral, thankfully. So this should still hurt pretty well. The Fake Out is going to go off into Mamo. That's perfect. Okay. And this Stomping Tantrum should go off in a Raging Bolt, barring a Thunderclap. Perfect. Yep, no Thunderclap. And this Tantrum should hurt a lot. Alright, yeah, that's really decent damage. They're not going to get Terrain Recovery anymore, so this Ice Shard should pick them off, thankfully. Oh, they're actually... Okay, that actually works really well. So... at this point, let's see. So how fast is my Memo? I feel like, I'm pretty sure this Memo has decent speed investment. Yeah, 148, that's decent speed. We're gonna go for Spiky here. And I'm gonna go for a high horsepower here, right into the Incineroar. Because that's gonna punish Incineroar very quickly. It'll stop it from party shotting my Ogerpon, and I think it's a better play. I feel like there is a good chance that the Raging Bolt maybe goes for like a Protect this turn. So I kind of want to play around that and pick off their Intimidate Mon that could stop my Ogerpon from winning. They are going to go for Protect. Okay, perfect. Yeah, this play right here should actually win me the game. No matter what their backline is, I can probably punish them with my Ogerpon plus Mamoswine at this point and win the game off of that. I still have Rillaboom I could cycle into in the back too to get a nice Fake Out if they do bring like a Rillaboom as their fourth Mon. And my Rillaboom at that point plus Ogerpon should be a really decent way of beating them. They have revealed Raging Bolt, Landorus, and Incineroar so far. Chien-Pao is the fourth Mon actually. Okay, so this actually works out really well because my Urshifu Rapid is suddenly becoming a very viable win con here. My play now is to proceed to take out the Raging Bolt very quickly. I'm actually okay. So to take out the Raging Bolt, I do need to make a little bit of a play. I need to let one of my Pokemon go down, but not both. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go for a... I think the better Pokemon to let go down is going to be the Mamoswine. Though I know... actually, no. It's probably the... Yeah, it's the Mamoswine, actually. I'm going to go for the... I'm going to go for the Ice Shard here. And I'm going to go for the Spiky Shield. Yeah, I kind of have to make that play. Oh, most likely, Pao is going to Sucker Punch my Mamoswine. No, they're going to go for Protect. Okay, that's a huge misplay by my opponent. That might cost them the game. Because I can go for the Spiky Shield. Okay, I just realized that could fail. But that was a decent way still around Thunderclap at least, so I'll take it. Because now my opponent actually has to choose, which is great. That's so much better than I thought it would be. I mostly made the play to, like, avoid taking Thunder... Well, just to protect. I forgot that I couldn't protect around Raging Bolt, to be fair. But the play was always Thunderclap from that, so it still was kind of a decent play, even still. I'm just going to go for Ivy Cudgel here, and I'm going to go for Ice Shard. Ice Shard is mostly just a Sash Break, and I don't really need to click it, to be fair. They're going to Sucker Punch anyway. That's perfectly fine. At this point, I do still have my Urshifu in the back, and my Urshifu can just Surging Strikes this while I go for high horsepower. My opponent can only keep claiming kills so often, so I'm kind of set here. Like this should be very free at this point. My opponent doesn't really have a lot that's going to punish me. And by going into Urshifu first, I can just go for Surging Strikes. They can't really protect around me. I'm actually just going to go for a CC here, because I just remembered this thing can't even like defensively Terra, so CC is always my play. So Pao should guarantee die. Like there's no button that Pao clicks that kills my Urshifu one hit, because they can't Terra. So yeah, they just die to CC. So Mamoswine actually did a good job this game. This first match already, Mamoswine put up some very immense pressure. And to be fair, this is the type of team where I feel like on face value, while I can't say for certain what specifically my opponent was thinking that Mamoswine was going to be mostly matching up into, but I feel like this is the type of team specifically where Mamoswine really has like the perfect matchup. And with this team on the rise, this is like a really dream come true archetype to show off. So I'm glad that I got to show it off in the first game. With that said though, we're gonna get one more game, and this was a very fucking long game, so we're gonna get one more game for today, and I will see you guys in game number 2. All right, game number 2, we have another team that actually is a really decent matchup for Mamoswine. Unlike the last game, though, there are a couple Pokemon that are actually pretty decent threats. For one, if that is an Urshifu Rapid, I'm more inclined to believe it is Single Strike on this type of team, but Rapid is still a good fit here. That Urshifu either way would put up a decent threat, but especially Rapid Strike because its dual stabs both could punish me pretty confidently. Ogerpon Wellspring is also a really decent threat though, but I can at least Kana Terror on that to a degree. I think that my lead realistically is going to be, let's see. So I definitely like Rillaboom, if nothing else, is a nice fake out spot next to whatever partner Whimsicott goes into, especially if it's like Incineroar. And then I think that my other lead Pokemon is probably going to be Ogerpon Hearthflame. Actually, no, I like leading off with Mamoswine, actually. They're probably going to lead off with, like, most likely Whimsicott or Incineroar with a partner Pokemon. And Mamo can put up some decent pressure. Worst case scenario, I have some decent switch-ins to a lot of the common things that my opponent might be bringing. For example, my Urshifu is a really decent switch-in to a good amount of this team, besides, like, the Raging Bolt and the Ogerpon, but I don't really need it for that. And for those in particular, I could probably just go with my own Raging Bolt. If it's something like a Flutter Mane next to one of those two Pokemon, honestly, the Terra Poison Mamoswine will be a very free click that turn, and I can just go for it immediately. I don't really need to Terra anything else on this team because Raging Bolt in particular doesn't really benefit from Terra. It's nice to get rid of my weakness to Flutter Mane, but frankly, its pre-Terra typing will be so much more useful against this team since they don't have Elandris here. They also have two Pokemon that very heavily get neutered by my Electric and Dragon typing. So I'm going to be very okay with just not Terraing Raging Bolt. They are going to lead off with Ogerpon and Incineroar. Okay, Ogerpon and Incineroar is fine, actually. This type of lead right here is actually perfect for us. I can proceed to just go for a fake out right into that Incineroar. Go for my Terra Poison to get rid of my weakness to Ogerpon. And then I could probably just go for like a Stomping Tantrum. Well, not Stomping Tantrum, High Horsepower. And just punish the Incineroar this turn. They're most likely going to go for like a Spiky Shield here, I feel like, anyway. So I'm going to go for my Terra Poison just right off the bat. Let me actually double check really quickly. I want to make sure. Yeah, okay. So there's nothing that I actually hurt myself for by going for this Terra Poison. I guess the only thing would be the Raging Bolt. But one, I don't actually think Raging Bolt comes against a team like this, considering the fact that I do have my own Raging Bolt. I have two grass types on this team. I have a Flutter Mane, and they have, unlike my last opponent, I feel like they have better Pokemon here that match up more into my team. For the last team, Raging Bolt, especially being a Calm Mindset, was kind of like their best win con, besides like a Cleaning Pow. For this team in particular, though, I feel like the back two are probably Flutter Mane and then Urshifu. So I don't think Raging Bolt actually comes. I feel like it is the worst Mon, arguably, in this matchup. So because of the fact they did not bring it already, I feel confident it's just not going to come. So by going for this Terra Poison, I really don't lose anything. They're not going to go for Fake Out, which is perfect. They're probably going to go for an Ivy Cudgel here. Yep, Ivy Cudgel, perfect. I should take that. I feel confident I can take that. Yep. We actually take that pretty well. I'll definitely take this. And then Incineroar is nearly dead, which is huge, actually. We're going to activate it. It looks like we're going to activate a Citrus Berry here. Honestly, not the worst. I can proceed to go for a Wood Hammer into that Ogerpon. I'm going to go for a Protect, mostly because... so let's see. So Ogerpon is probably going to either go for a Spiky or an Ivy Cudgel here. I'm not sure which. I'm going to predict it's going to go for Ivy here. And I'm going to go for a Protect. Incineroar will probably Parting Shot or Flare Blitz into my Rillaboom. I'm kind of okay with that. Rillaboom has already done its job at this point. It just needed to threaten the Ogerpon early on and get a nice Fake Out off into their Fake Out Mon. Now that they've lost Fake Out initiative, I'm not really worried about them regaining it against this team because it was really just for turn 1 and needed the instant chip. At this point, I can kind of just farm. They're most likely going to try and pivot though. The Ogerpon does not go for a Spiky. There's no world where that would have, unless it's like a really slow Ogerpon. Yep, they're going for Ivy. Okay, perfect. So this Wood Hammer is going to hurt like a truck. I can proceed to Grassy Glide on the next turn. That will probably pick it off, especially because the Wood Hammer will get nice chip despite being -1. Yeah, that's perfect. Grassy Glide should pick that off. And then I'll go for a Tantrum just to be safe. Okay. Oh, actually losing our Miracle Seed, that might make the difference. I can't lie. Just to be safe, I am actually going to switch out Mamoswine because I do think it's still decent here. And I'll go for another Wood Hammer into that Ogerpon. Yeah, I'm going to go for another Wood Hammer just to be safe. Let me actually double check. Let me double check the calc because maybe I'm overestimating this. Let's see. So versus Rillaboom, Wood Hammer. Okay, so they definitely took this Wood Hammer pretty well. I know, to be fair, this isn't... Actually, this is max attack. What am I... Yeah, so this is like a really bulky Ogerpon. Because that is like a very defensive Ogerpon. Without my Miracle Seed... Oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm -1. I'm done. Okay. we're gonna go for this, and then I'm gonna swap here into Urshifu. They're gonna go for Ivy Cudgel anyway, so they're not gonna go for a Horn Leech this turn, which means that my Urshifu is kind of fine. They're not gonna Parting Shot into that spot either, though it wouldn't really matter, because even if they do for some reason, I can still Surging Strikes for free. They're gonna go for Spiky. Okay, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna proceed to just go for a... Let's see, okay. So, they're actually very not bulky Ogerpon, I'm realizing. Well, actually, hold on, never mind. So that was with my Miracle Seed. Well, my Meadow Plate, I should say. Yeah, okay, so they're probably just like a max HP, like low defense Ogerpon. That's perfectly fine. The Grassy Glide here will not kill. Objectively, it will not kill. So I'm going to need to go for what will probably end up being a Wood Hammer here. Wood Hammer plus a Detect is my best play for sure. There's a good chance that Ogerpon actually probably switches here. But if not, it goes for like a Follow Me, predicting I'm going to go for Surging Strikes. I'm kind of fine either way, in all honesty. My opponent has already removed my item, so they know I'm not choiced. So they probably anticipate a close combat this turn, actually, as it's a really nice middle ground here. However, I can't really lose my Urshifu. And also, if they are max speed Jolly, they're probably just going to go for Horn Leech, in all honesty. And at that point, I can at least kill, which is decent. So I do just want to put up that nice pressure into Ogerpon. There's a lot of plays it could make, in all honesty, but by just going for Detect, I punish all of them. Meanwhile, I can also then just proceed to go for a Surging Strikes on the next turn because their team doesn't really like taking it. Perfect. Okay, so Ogerpon dies. That's really huge. Again, now at this point, Rillaboom really can just kind of go down. It's already done its job, very much so. And even if my opponent Flare Blitzes my Rillaboom, I'm kind of okay with that. No matter what Pokemon they have in the back, I really do not need Rillaboom at this point. It's done more than enough work. They're going to go for Parting Shot here into my Rillaboom. That's perfectly fine. No matter what they bring in next turn, I'm going to be able to just get a really free turn with my Urshifu plus Rillaboom at this point. What they're probably going to actually do is they're going to probably bring in whatever Pokemon they want to bring in and then switch back in Incineroar and go for Fake Out. I can't really do a lot about that, but I think my play is... Okay, yeah, they're going to go for Fluttermane. Ooh, okay, Fluttermane is like kind of dangerous, but it's not the worst. They're definitely going to Fake Out into my Urshifu though, for sure. Which... I can actually probably take advantage of that. I think that realistically my play is to go for a Grassy Glide into Fluttermane, and then to switch out my Urshifu into... Actually, I could probably go for Protect. I could probably go for Protect and like really cycle them. I think either way though, my play is... I don't really need the Rillaboom. Honestly, I think that my play is just to go for a Grassy Glide, get whatever chip I can into Fluttermane, and then go for the swap here into my Mamoswine. As Mamoswine will probably take a Gleam. I can't imagine it would not take a Gleam plus Fake Out at this point. Like a Mamoswine has some decent bulk to it, and the combination of like Shard, Jet, and Glide from my team should be fine. Even with the -2 no Miracle Seed, and without the Splash Blade on Urshifu, I feel confident that's going to be enough to kill Fluttermane. So they are going to go for Fake Out. That's perfectly fine. It does no damage as anticipated. They are going to take a Grassy Glide, and even at -2, that's still a really good chip. Yeah. I'm confident the Ice Shard plus the... Okay, yeah, so we actually barely take that. I will say, I thought we would at least be in the yellow still. This is probably leaning more like Specs Fluttermane. Maybe it's not. But either way, my play is definitely just go into my... Urshifu at this point. As Urshifu can just go for the Aqua Jet. And then that plus the Ice Shard should be enough to pick off. I feel very confident still in that. Especially without this being like a -1. Neither of my Pokemon are -1 in fact, so I feel very confident this can just kill. And that damage is leaning me personally to believe this is more like a choice Fluttermane. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's genuinely just like a really good modest Fluttermane and just happened to do good damage and I'm overestimating Mamoswine. But it still is a fairly relatively bulky Pokemon with the Resistant Terra. I feel confident that should have done less. But either way, this Fluttermane will get punished, even if it goes for Protect for some reason and I'm overhyping. It's going to take an Aqua Jet still, and if my opponent goes for that, I can just Aqua Jet again, most likely, and pick it off. The Urshifu, the Incineroar will probably just kill my Mamoswine at that point, which makes sense. They're going to withdraw Fluttermane. That's still fine. What Pokemon are they going for their last spot? Because if it's, like, no matter what it is, it's going to have to take an Aqua Jet and Ice Shard. It's their own Urshifu, and it's Urshifu single at that point, so that's still fine. The Aqua Jet did some decent damage, actually, and the Ice Shard should still also do some decent damage. Like, that's already at half, which is huge. They're going to knock off and kill my Mamoswine, which is fine. I'm actually very okay with that. I'm going to proceed to just go for a Surging Strikes into the Incineroar at this point, and then I'm going to go for a Thunderclap into the Urshifu single. And that should be decent. There's a good chance they go for Terra, but I don't really have a better play than this. Not Terra. There's a good chance that they go for a Protect here. They could go for Terra, to be fair. But either way, this is still my play. Like, I'm very confident this is my play in every scenario. If they go for Sucker Punch into my Raging Bolt, good play, but I kind of want to still avoid, if possible, any shenaniganry. Maybe the play was to Thunderclap Incineroar, or to like Thunderbolt Incineroar, and then go for like a Sword of Tricks into... Nah, never mind. I feel like this is still fine. There's a good chance I think they just Wicked Blow. I feel like Wicked Blow into my Raging Bolt is a decent play for them. They might Sucker Punch to avoid Thunderclap though. I'm not too concerned either way. Incineroar, Urshifu really isn't the most threatening Pokemon on my team right now because it's already chipped pretty well. I can Aqua Jet plus Thunderbolt that if need be later on and be kind of fine. So I'm not too concerned. They are going to Sucker Punch. Okay, that's fine. This still doesn't do a lot. Like this is still fairly manageable damage. Thunderclap is going to get ignored. Not the worst in the world. I'm just going to Aqua Jet plus... I'm going to go for the Aqua Jet plus the Thunderclap into the Flutter Mane next turn. Because again, I'm very confident that is a choice Flutter Mane. And I know for a fact that combination will pick it off. And then Urshifu can't 1v1 my team at that point, which is huge. If they're not choice Flutter Mane, again, good play. They bluffed really well, but I'm confident it is not. Flutter Mane. Urshifu Rapid. Okay. So yeah, no Mystic Water. We are out of it though. Let me actually double check just to make sure that I'm not... I'm pretty sure I'm not -1. Yeah, I'm in no stats. I was misremembering turn order for some reason. But yeah. So if it is a really bulky Flutter Mane though, which with specs it probably is, there's a good chance. My play is always just to go for the Aqua Jet and to go for the Thunderclap here. If Flutter Mane for some reason takes this, good play. My opponent wins the game because I definitely cannot beat the team at that point. But I just kind of have to hope. I really just have to hope, to be honest. If it's not like obnoxiously defensive Flutter Mane, like this calc is 212, 132. I doubt it's that bulky necessarily, but it's like Flutter Mane do run relatively bulky on these choice sets, and they go for like modest. It's probably aiming more for the 116 bump rather than like 36 modest. So that should work out well for me. But maybe it is really bulky Flutter Mane. Who knows? Aqua Jet's gonna go off here. Yeah, that's not bulky Flutter Mane. This Thunderclap will definitely kill. I'm very confident in that. They're gonna Wicked Blow most likely. If they CC, that's fine too, but they're probably gonna go for Wicked Blow. Let's see. They're there for close combat, actually. Okay, so that is fine. My Urshifu takes it. My Urshifu takes that confidently. I'm gonna proceed to just go for Thunderbolt plus Surging Strikes here, because no matter what, one of these moves will kill here. Objectively, one of these moves kills, because it's a -1 Urshifu. It's not taking anything. If they went for that into the Raging Bolt, I think they might have had a chance to win the game. No matter what Terra they go for, unless it's Grass, I'm kind of fine here. And even Terra Grass, I can still muscle this. It's Terra Poison, yeah, that's fine either way. I'm curious if this was predicting I would go for close combat here. I feel like it was never my play because I just go for the 2 neutral attacks and literally only one type in the game resists both of them. To be fair, I guess Dragon Pulse is probably a better play in hindsight with the Surging Strikes. But either way, I'm confident that we're gonna be fine. That Urshifu is definitely dead. We still win. We still go 2-0. Honestly, I'm okay with that. The Mamoswine did a fuck ton of work. Like, that Mamoswine put up so much pressure. I can see why this team got top 50 at Orlando. This is a really good team. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you want to try it again, link to the team down below. Shoutouts to the creator of the team, Hoopa Metapod on Twitter. Really incredible team. I hope I see their tweet where I got this team from. I got it from the VGC Pace Discord, obviously, where I get a lot of my teams I cover. But on the tweet they mentioned that this is a team, well, that Mamoswine in particular, I have a lot of faith could go up in the format. And if we had another month of Reg F, or if like Worlds was Reg F, honestly, I could see this mon like doing some more work. I think it's at a point where the format right now is evolving in enough of a way where Mamoswine actually has a lot of merit. But it's unfortunate we don't have much more Reg F left. As much as I am looking forward to Reg G has been a very fun format in my testing so far. I think Mamoswine, if the format was a little longer, would have had a lot more time to shine. But it is what it is. Really cool team though. If you want to try it yourself for the last couple weeks of Reg F, I highly encourage you to check it out. Also consider becoming a channel member for just a couple dollars a month. We have some nice bonus content for the members. I'm going to be polling the next video on Wednesday. So if you want to get a chance to vote on that, you have until Wednesday to become a channel member. Currently, we do have a few members on the channel. Those are going to be Mia, Zeke Zero, Rao Sakura, Obo, Endless Gadgets, and Incog M. Thank you guys very much for your support. And with that said, I will see you guys tomorrow for another VGC battle set. Until then, peace out, guys.